Well, we don't know if we are in an AI bubble yet, but what we do know is that EQQQ is one of the most popular ETFs and one of the reasons that people added as a satellite ETF to their global core equity portfolios is to get tech exposure, which today largely means AI. But the problem is that doing that often just means doubling down on the same tech, same companies, more concentration, and less diversification. So in this video, I'm pushing two funds head to head, the Nasdaq 100 and a Dutch tracker, to see if the Nasdaq is actually adding any new AI exposure to your core portfolio or just adding some more of the same tech. Let me show you. Most global equity funds are already US heavy, with around 20% of their holdings in just 7 stocks, the Magnificent Seven. So before you add anything else to your portfolio, these companies already dominate. If you hold 80% in a global equity fund and you add 20% Nasdaq, the concentration of the Magnificent Seven go from 20% of your money to 25%. Why? Because the Nasdaq itself is about 40% concentrated in those same stocks. That's a quarter of your portfolio there. A simple way to test whether two funds actually diversify each other is to look at sector correlation. Basically, how similar they move. The closer to one, the more they move together. And here the Nasdaq comes in at around 0.81 against the core portfolio. And that's high, while the Dutch tracker is closer to 0.67, which means that sectors and therefore returns across that portfolio are more spread out, which is what diversification is supposed to do. So what is the Dutch tracker actually giving you? Well, it gives you tech exposure. Roughly a quarter of the tracker is tech, but instead of being dominated just by growth tech alone, this ETF allocates across different sectors, from energy to financials, staples to healthcare. Think of more Amsterdam and less Silicon Valley. But crucially, it brings a different part of AI to the mix. Because here's the thing, when people talk about AI, they usually think about models and chips. But the AI supply chain is bigger than that. It can be broken down as energy, infrastructure, chips, AI models, and applications. And the Magnificent Seven, they sit across most of these layers. But there is one layer they don't really control and is critical. That's the machines that actually make the chips. Designing the chips is one thing, making them is another. And here is where ASML sits, the largest holding of the tracker, at 18%. This company is essentially the monopoly supplier of these machines. Without ASML, there are no cutting-edge AI chips, period. Like, the whole thing stops. So when you add these to the tracker, you are not just adding more AI, you are adding something genuinely new to your portfolio and something the Magnificent Seven can replicate. So if your goal is maximum growth, and I guess you can stomach the volatility of the Nasdaq, it has a case despite concentration. But if your goal is diversification while still getting meaningful AI exposure, a trip to Amsterdam might be a more compelling choice. But here is what matters most. You already own the AI trade. It's in your pension, it's in your global index fund, it's in the Magnificent Seven. So if you're going to add something to it, you have to make it count, because otherwise you're just paying more fees for something you already have. So how are you feeling about AI? Are you adding more, scaling back, or just leaving it alone? I really want to know.